guides you in paths of righteousness. And yet the world will say, this is nonsense and you are dead. I was looking through a magazine and the ad said, you're dead. I thought, what an interesting way to promote an idea. You're dead. And then under it says, what will you do now? What will you do now? Right? Cammy's going to give me some advice. They're trying to sell some insurance. They're trying to get you to feel guilty, sad, that your loved one isn't going to be protected enough. You're dead. And how many people have you walked around and discovered them dead in their faith, in their struggle? And you have watched them and done nothing. A friend of mine, we were hunting another deer hunting story, folks. As you know, I like deer hunting. So, he and I went out, we were both woodsmen. So, we had scouted out an area around Oscoda, Michigan, and went out. He went out, and so did I. We went to different places. When I was done, about noon, I didn't see anything. Just a couple of fox, some raccoons, porcupine, but no deer. It's great, preparation. Anyway, so went back to the car, had something to eat. He hadn't been there. Of course, that's not unusual, so I ate and went back out to the stand and came back about 5, because it was getting really dark. And I walked up and he still hadn't had his food yet, and then I was a little concerned. So I'm sitting there and eating a little bit of the food I'd left behind, and up come this pack of dogs outside my door. Then I got really worried. I started honking the horn. I was hoping that would give some help. I don't know if it would. Maybe it did distract me. But if you hear a horn, you're saying, hey, I can at least latch on and start walking, hopefully in that direction. I did that for about a half hour. Then I'm like, smokes, it's really dark. It's cold. It's about to start the car when in came another car. Sure enough, my friend got out. He was wet. He was cold, tired, exhausted, actually. And I said, what's going on? He said, well, I got lost from the moment I walked into the woods. That's great woodsman. Anyway, he said, I got lost and I was walking all day trying to find my way out. Something looked familiar. I'd follow that and it wouldn't be. And I was walking and walking. And I walked into a swamp and I fell down. And then I was really concerned because it got cold and it was getting dark. And he said, man, his pride all gone away. He yelled out, help me! I'm lost! 4 people walked out, not 5 minutes from him. They came out from behind trees. He said it was like one of those scary movies. And he said to them, didn't you see I was lost? Didn't you see I was in need? Didn't you see that? And they said, no, we didn't know. He said, didn't you see that I was struggling? Didn't you see? No. No. How many people do you see struggling in life who need you? And how many do you not see who need to be comforted in their time of struggle? Today, brothers and sisters, you might see the rich and the poor in the story. I want you to see the arrogant and the not arrogant. That's what I want you to see in the story. Because you would think that hell would change a person's perspective. It says angels take away Lazarus, and the rich man also dies. So in hell, who is he still thinking about? Himself. That is the struggle. Not that he's rich, but he only thinks about himself. Even in hell, where you think you'd have a transitional situation. I don't want you to go to hell. Did you hear me say that out loud? Yes, there is hell, and I don't want you to go. So, how can I comfort you and guide you away from that vision? I need you to be selfless. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, I just need you to be selfless. Loving on people who are lost, caring for the needy, and walking with those who are wounded. I served as a chaplain at Ohio State University Hospital, and when I was there, I met a gal. She had multiple breaks and bones, and her mouth was wired shut. All she could do to talk to me was write on a pad of paper, and she was hard because her arms were broken. So it wasn't too easy. Again, I met with her, once a week, twice a week, and I talked with her because, of course, she went from the hospital to rehab, and she still had that wired jaw. She couldn't move her jaw at all. She couldn't talk. So I would talk with her, and she would make those, yeah. And I said, hey, would you like to pray? And she would say, pray? She would put me in a question mark. She wouldn't say it out loud. I said, well, it's very hard to have a communication with someone, that's not talking, but rather just writes. So, and of course, as I said, she would get tired, so she would never write very much. Then came the day. They took out the wire in her jaw so she could speak. Of course, it was laborsome, but certainly she could. And I asked her, what happened? And she said, the man who had loved her said that he loved her, had lived with her for some time, had pushed her out of a 2-story window. Of course, tears came. And I spoke to her about the love of Jesus that would never leave her, that would never push her away, that would comfort her in times of struggle and help her in her time of need. And of course she said, who's this Jesus? I said, he's the Savior of the world. And then she said, tell me more. Where do we find comfort when we come across horror? Where do we find comfort when we see things that should not happen in our world? Jesus. Jesus. After he is rebuffed by Abraham, the rich man starts begging, go tell my brothers. Please go tell my brothers. And Abraham gives him a word that is true today. Even if someone comes back from the dead, people won't listen. How many times have you in your life shared the message of Jesus and people say, you're nuts, They walk away, or they won't listen, or say that's a crutch, or that's nonsense, or that's foolishness. And how many in the great time of need have you reached out and said, let me tell you the promise of Jesus, and they said, I don't want to hear it. Keep telling them the message. And keep living it out in your life. For hearing it is one thing, but seeing it is altogether different. Last week I went to see Catherine Hawes. Yesterday I honored her life. In my final time with her, I didn't know it was going to be my final time, I was telling her about the promise, and she said, well, I hope it's true. I love that faithful statement. I hope it's true. And I reached out, and she was just on a hospital bed, laying there, struggling to breathe, and I reached out, and I touched her cheek. And she did something wonderful, something I will remember for a lifetime. She pressed her cheek against my hand, and she moved it back and forth to get comfort in that time that was some of the final moments of her life. Brothers and sisters, even a simple gesture to span that chasm, to say, I'm with you, to say that you matter, to bring comfort in time of struggle, to span the chasm that is so different, so distant, and yet we can do that if Jesus is in our life, if Jesus is in our heart, if Jesus calls us and touches us. We can span that distance and give comfort and give hope, faith, joy, love. Today we have our first Unity Sunday. I pray that we'll span the distance, go across the chasm, and not see 5:30, 9 o'clock, 10:30, but rather the people of God, of St. Paul, who love Jesus and wants to go into the world to change it in His name. Brothers and sisters in Christ, you're not dead. You're not dead. Live your life in celebration of Christ and His promises, and others will be comforted. And all God's children say, Amen.